If you have watched the AgilePoint platform overview, you may have noticed a small overlap with the content of this video. This video is an overview of the data entity framework available in AgilePoint NX version 7. The AgilePoint NX data entity provides a built-in entity designer like what is found in CRM systems such as Salesforce or Dynamic CRM. The AgilePoint Data Entity Designer is the backbone of application development, where the data is no longer limited to staying in AgilePoint's XML. The data can be stored in a database and therefore can be used for further reporting. There is no longer a need to deal directly with SQL when designing your tables. Database table design can now be done right from the web browser using the wizard, without needing any database skills. Let's look at the various components that make up the data entity. To begin, let's click on Build Apps in the Portal menu. Data Entity is available from within Build Apps by clicking on the Data Entities button. The Data Entities button will only be available if you have sufficient privileges enabled in your tenant. When clicking the Data Entities button, the Data Entity homepage will open, and you will see a basic overview of your entities and pick list. The Add Entity button lets you create a new entity, and the Add Pick List button lets you create a new pick list. A pick list is a collection of records, like a list of countries or a list of regions. In the same way that a shared list can be defined, you can also define a pick list and associate it with a database column, so that the values in your pick list will show in your database table. There are currently available for use 33 out-of-the-box standard entities and 110 out-of-the-box standard pick lists. You can also see how many standard entities there are and how many custom entities you have created, along with a pie chart that visually represents the ratio of standard to custom entities. You can also see how many entities that have been published or are just drafts, along with a pie chart that visually represents the ratio between the published and the draft entities. And finally, how many active and inactive entities you have, along with a pie chart to see a ratio between the two. At the bottom of the home page, you will find a quick launch bar. In the Recently Modified Entities section, you will see the most recent entities that have been edited. The Quick Links entities will display the entities that have been marked as favorite. By clicking on an entity that is listed, it will take you to that entity instead of having to search through the list. The Quick Links Pick List will display the pick list that have been marked as favorite. When a pick list has been marked as a favorite, it will be listed here for quick access instead of having to search through the list. The toolbar on the left contains the Home tab, the Entities tab, the Pick List tab, and the Security tab. Clicking on the Entities tab will display a list of the standard out-of-the-box entities and any custom entities that have been defined. The standard entities are the most common entities, like what you would find in Salesforce or Dynamic CRM. You can use a standard entity without having to design your own, or you can design your own new custom entity to better fit your application needs. Clicking on an entity will display all the custom and standard fields that have been defined for that entity. If we go back to the list of entities, you will see there are several search features that are available for listing and finding entities. You have the ability to search an entity by name, by category, or by type, which can either be standard or custom, by simply entering the entity's name, category, or its type in the search box. To search for an entity by name, type the name of the entity you're looking for in the search box, and it will display any that match your search. Searching an entity by category is the same. Enter the name of the category you are searching for, and it will be displayed. Another way you can search or list entities is by grouping them by category. This will group all available entities, standard and custom, by their category, which is the default group by listing. Or you can search or list the entities by using group by type. This will separate the entities into two groups. One group will contain all the standard entities, and the other group will contain all the custom entities. In this example, you will only see standard entities because custom entities have not been defined. If a custom entity had been defined, it would be listed here in the custom group list. Also available is Group by Owner. This will group the entities by their owner or who created them. Next, there is a filter option. Clicking on the filter icon displays the Filter Entities window. Here you can filter by type, which is standard or custom. You can also filter by active status, which is active or inactive. And you can filter by published status, which is published or draft. If you were to choose Standard in the Filter by Type option and click the Apply button, the list will only show the standard entities. Any custom entities that have been defined will not show in the list. When you apply a filter option, the filter icon changes colors. This indicates that a custom filtering option has been applied to your entity list. Let's click the filter icon to open the Filter Entities window and click the Clear button to remove any filtering options. By removing the filter icon has changed colors, indicating that no custom filters are being applied. Next is the Add Entity button. Clicking on this opens a new entity page where you can begin to define your custom entity. The Refresh button will refresh your list of entities, allowing you to see any changes that have been made. The submenu is where you will find the Delete and Import options. The Delete option is used when you want to delete one or more of your custom entities. Standard entities cannot be deleted. Selecting the Import option opens the Import Template window, where you can select the file to be imported. Once a file has been selected, click the Import button to begin the import process. In closing, let's review what you have learned in this video. We've covered designing and storing application data using the Data Entity product, understanding out-of-the-box and custom entities and pick lists. Also, importing and exporting entities between AgilePoint tenants. This concludes the overview of the AgilePoint NX Data Entity Designer.